Right guys, the next fresh wort kit I'm going to be doing is called Oil for the Neck, which is a clone of neck oil, the popular American pale ale. Now it is a beer that when I go into a commercial pub and I see it on tap, I'm usually relieved because out of all the mass-produced beers, it's one of the good ones. So hopefully this tastes similar. So on the description on the Malt Miller website, it should end up at an ABV of 5.2, but on the picture it actually said that it should end up at an ABV of 4.7, so I'll see how it goes. I'm going to do the fermentation in the FermZilla and monitor the gravity on the wrap pill, so I'll let you know how it ends up. So in the kit, you get base 2 fresh wort, which is called extra light. You get a mass of different hops, so you get Vic Secret, 30 grams, you get Centennial, 15 grams, you get Amarillo, 54 grams, you get Mosaic, 54 grams, and you get Simcoe, 15 grams. You get a lax ale yeast, you get Brusol for clearing, and you get a hop sock. So like I say, I'll do the fermentation in the FermZilla. I'm going to do it as per the instructions. So the instructions are to ferment at 19 degrees, leave it for probably around 2 weeks to do the full fermentation. I will raise the temperature up to 21 degrees just to do a diacetyl rest towards the end. Then drop the temperature down to 14 degrees before adding the dry hop additions, where I'll probably leave it for about 4 days. Then following that, I'll do a cold crash, then I'll do a closed transfer into 2 10-litre kegs, and then I'm going to serve it on CO2, and I'll let you know what it's like. So for the fermentation on this kit, I decided rather than putting a spunding valve onto the FermZilla at the beginning of fermentation, I decided to use a blow-off tube. So what I did is I got a piece of pipe, connected it to a disconnect and put it into a bowl of sanitizer. I left it like that throughout the whole fermentation. Now the reason I did this was because I've done a few of these kits now where the krausen has actually come up because of the size of the FermZilla up into the spunding valve. I've not damaged one yet, but I've been able to clean it out. My worry is that if I keep doing it, it might damage it, and I think this might just be a better option for doing, especially a beer of this style where you do want to keep those ester flavours in. So that's what I've done. So then I've done the full fermentation and dropped the temperature down to 14 degrees so that I can dry hop. So because I've got a very low pressure in the headspace of this FermZilla, I'm just going to take the lid off and tip the hop pellets in. I have noticed that it seems to keep more of the flavour of the hops in if you do it this way. I've tried doing it through the dump section and it does work, but I do find that some of the hop pellets get clogged down at the bottom. I don't think you get that full flavour of the hops without doing it this way. I would like to be able to put a hop bong on top of the FermZilla. Unfortunately, I don't think I've got the headspace in my fermentation chamber, so I think this is the better option. So yeah, I'm just going to depressurise it. There's only a tiny bit of pressure in because I did put a spunding valve on just while I was dropping the temperature down to 14 degrees. So I'll do that. I'll purge the headspace with CO2 just to make sure it's clear of any oxygen. Then I'm going to leave it for probably around 4 days as per the instructions. Leave the dry hops in at 14 degrees. Then before I come to cold crash, I'm going to dump the trub. So I've already sanitised the dump section. I'll purge it with CO2, open the valve, get rid of the trub. Then what I'll do once I've cleaned and sanitised that again, I'll repurge it, but I'll add the Brusol in through this section just because I want to try and keep any of the CO2 that might be created during the dry hop phase in the top of the FermZilla, because when I do the cold crash, I want that CO2 to carbonate the beer. So I'll put the Brusol into the dump section, open it up, give it a blast through with CO2 just to make sure it's all mixed up, and then I'm going to drop the temperature down to around 1 or 2 degrees, as cold as I can get it really. And I'm going to probably leave it for around 2 weeks because I want this beer to be really clear. I want it to end up being as commercial quality as possible. So I'll do that and then I'll let you know how it goes. So as you can see on the profile, oil for the neck recorded on the wrap pill, the fermentation took roughly 7 days to complete. I did raise the temperature from 19 degrees to 21 degrees for a couple of days towards the end to do the diacetyl rest. And as you can see, the ABV on this kit ended up at 5.42. So as I said at the beginning of the video, on the website photo it said an ABV of 4.7, but in the method it said 5.3, so it ended up closer to the ABV in the method on the Malt Miller website. So we did complete the 2-week cold crash just to make sure it was well carbonated and nice and clear, and then I have left it to condition for a couple of weeks. I've chilled it and now it's ready to serve, so I'll tip one out. be honest, I think I've overcarbonated this one, but it's a nice colour. It's not completely clear. It looks more of a hazy colour. It may just be the chill haze, but it is a nice colour. So what I've decided to do is I've got a couple of cans of neck oil just so I can do a little comparison just to see how close it comes. So I'll tip one out here. So colour-wise, this one's much clearer, but I think that may just be the chill haze because I can see through it. It does look really well carbonated, but yeah, colour-wise, very, very similar. Just this one looks slightly clearer. So I'll tell you what, I'll try this one first. Just to reacquaint myself with the taste. I'm sure neck oil used to taste much better than that. It's quite bland, to be honest. I've had it many times before and it's usually got quite a fruity flavour. This doesn't seem to really. I don't know if they changed the recipe. No, let's try this one. That is much nicer. To be honest, thinking back on how I remember neck oil tasting, having that grapefruit flavour, very fruity, very punchy, bit of bitterness. This is much better. This is much better than the can, to be honest. It's hard to do the comparison really because I don't think that the way neck oil used to taste was like that. I think they've changed the recipe. I think it's become much more bland. Maybe it's because it's become so commercial. It doesn't taste anything special. That, on the other hand, it's a beautiful summer beer, that. A little bit of bitterness. You can taste that grapefruit flavour, which I'm sure neck oil used to taste, unless it's just this can, but I've only bought that just the last couple of days, so it's not one that's been sat around for a long time. This is really good. It's got that, yeah, that grapefruit, which gives you that grapefruit bitterness. You can taste the, I can't quite taste the different hops in it, but altogether it's a really, really good beer, this, especially for the summer. Nice, light. Yeah, I may have overcarbonated it slightly, but that gives it that extra fizz, that extra carbonation that you want. That is really, really good. So yeah, out of the fresh Wort kits, I think this is a real good one. Definitely one to get. So ranking, I'm gonna give this, I don't know if it's not as good as the off the top, but that was that was a bit more fruity. It was cloudy. It was a different style of beer really. This is much lighter. It's also a lighter ABV. So for this style, I think it's really good. I'm gonna rate this. I'm gonna give it an 8 because it is really good. Yeah, I'd definitely buy this kit again. So I hope you join us for the next one.